Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Do you love unraveling a good old-fashioned whodunit? Oh, honey, me too. I'm Alicia, armchair detective and host of Dead On, a true crime podcast. Join me every Friday. We'll dive into a case that scratches your itch for true crime, dark history, and mystery. Streaming now, everywhere you love to listen.
Hey, Twisted listeners, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Diva.
This is Twisted Listeners, a podcast about murder
and lists.
We're brought to you by the Podmoth Podcasting Network. They're awesome. Check them out. Check out the other podcasts. And yeah, this is a new topic, new week, new us. We're reborn every week anew, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of our previous list. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm very tired. So this is rambling. I apologize. Diva, what are we doing? I picked it, but I'm still going to ask you.
You picked business, money, greed murders.
All right.
I don't know. Something like that. Greed motivated murders.
You're making it sound so good.
Yeah. Greedy killers.
Yes. So this is murders that were motivated by money, triple M. Yes. And I didn't want to include any wives killing husbands or husbands killing wives because
for life insurance money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's its own fucking thing. And I wanted it to be more weird and devious and, just kind of a different vibe. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We have not posted a new Patreon. We are due to put one up soon. So hopefully we'll get that together. I
have one. No, I have one like 75% research. Remember my catastrophe where I did it and then my stuff got deleted?
Yes.
So I just need to fix it up. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we'll get that out in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Which would be great. The murder map's being updated all the time. So if you guys want to join us on Patreon to support our little podcast, you can do that at patreon.com/twistedlisters. I don't think you can search us yet. You have to have like a certain amount of people who follow you or whatever to get searched. So I know it's dumb. They hate on small podcasts. They hate on small businesses. So whatever. But yeah, you can join us there. We have a $1 level and a $5 level. So it's not like a huge money commitment. If you'd like to join us on TikTok, it's just at Twisted Listers. If you would like to hang out with us on Instagram, where we post lots of true crime stories and other fun stuff, you can do that at
Twisted Listers PCast.
If you would like to send us an email with case suggestions, which we love, you can do that at
twistedlisterspod@gmail.com.
And if you would like to check out our website, which has 2 different stickers now that you can purchase if you're not a patron, you can do that at
twistedlisterspod.com.
All right, let's get into the cases, man.
Yeah. Woo. Do I go first?
You do.
Okay.
I chose.
That's right. I forget how it works every week. Okay.
I know, me too.
Okay. So this is a very fucking weird story. It is that of Santi and Kenny Kimes. Do you know this fucking story?
Not by name, at least. I might, how half the time I'm like, oh, right. I do know this case. Currently, no.
I cannot believe I had no idea what this case was about. But anyway, here we go.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So, and it's perfect because last week I just did Bonnie and Clyde, and these killers are known as Mommy and Clyde.
Oh, ew.
Yeah,
ew,
because
I already don't like this.
This is a mother-son crime duo.
Ew, there was shit going on. There was shit going on.
So this is 63-year-old Santi and 23-year-old Kenny. Well, that's how old they are at the end of this story. Okay. Like I said, a mommy-son crime duo, and it's really fucking fucked up. So Santi was born to an Indian farmer who lived in Oklahoma and a Dutch woman, so immigrants. And to really humble beginnings. They were just farmers. And when she was really young, her father died, and she was kind of neglected by her mom. At one point, she was taken away. So she had kind of a rough background.
Okay.
She was also abused by an older brother.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That is where it starts right there.
Definitely. However, from an early age, she was also an abuser of just anyone, animals. She would torture animals. She would torture and burn her siblings with matches.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. She would go into rages and tantrums that scared the shit out of her mom. Her mom was like unable to control her. And I think when she's a teenager, a wealthy couple from Nevada actually offers to adopt Santi, and the family is literally stoked. They're like, please take her.
You're like, you don't even have to give us money. Just get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
Get rid of her.
Out.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So right out of high school, she has 2 marriages that don't work out. She was always angry that her husbands didn't make enough money because she is very money focused.
Wait, did the wealthy couple take her in?
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I skipped over that.
She does go to live with them. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's also probably where she got used to the money.
New family. Yeah. They're not like crazy rich, but they're like fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she's always mad that they don't make enough money, even though they like are fine, they're comfortable. She's like more, you know.
Yeah.
And she would frequently shoplift despite, again, not needing to, out of necessity, being financially fine.
Right. So it's just like an entitlement, and just also there's something wrong with her.
Oh yeah, lots are wrong. Lots is wrong. Her second husband was a contractor, and actually some of the houses he built would often mysteriously burn down with Santi collecting insurance money on them.
So she would insure the houses that she didn't own that were being built by her husband and then burn them to the ground.
I guess, yeah.
That's wild. That's fucking bold. That's like a very bold move. And also, how'd she not get caught? But whatever. Yeah.
So with husband number 2, she has a son, Kent. Kent is going to be like the normal one who's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Kent says that growing up, his mom instilled in her kids, she's gonna have another one later, that all that matters in life is money.
Okay.
And that they should marry rich, and that all that matters in life is that they're rich. So that was kind of her principles, her moral backbone.
But I love also that she's not like, get a good job and make a lot of money. She's like, just marry rich.
Yeah.
Like, don't work for it, marry into it. Which I kind of respect in a weird way.
Yeah, sure. If that's where it ended, fine. But she's also a horrendous piece of shit.
Right. I mean, that's not exactly like good advice or like, you know, a good way to go about things, but
no. So after ditching her second husband, she literally is like, I'm going to find a millionaire. So she researched one and found Kenneth Kimes, who was a slightly older guy worth about $20 million.
Okay.
And she just threw herself at him, and it worked.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's not like I've heard this story before, you know.
Right. It's about to get really, really bad though shortly.
Okay.
She and Kent move in with him, and she's stoked to have a millionaire lifestyle. Obviously, she's like, woo, you know, she's what she's always wanted. Right. They never get married though, because Kenneth is quite smart and is like, this lady's after my money. But he's just like fine with it enough to be with her, but not to marry her.
Like, I don't mind sharing it with her temporarily while I'm getting what I want out of it, but I'm not committing to anything. Got it.
Correct.
Okay.
In 1975, they have a son, Kenny. So Kenny Jr. here. And according to Kent, the normal brother, Kenny was kind of like this golden child who could do no wrong in his mother's eyes, super spoiled, super entitled.
Yeah, because he's her fucking connection to the money. Like, that's her meal ticket right there. So of course she loves that kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Since the early 70s, this is the point where I feel the maddest in this whole story. This is the point where my blood like boils out of my body. Okay. Since the early 70s, Santi literally begins to go to Mexico to lure young Mexican women to come to the United States and be her housekeepers. Then saying I'll pay you to this and this and this and this. Then she would literally enslave them in her house, imprisoning them in her house, never paying them a dime, and subjecting them to horrific physical abuse, burning them with irons and beating them with hangers and all kinds of objects.
And definitely being like, you can't do shit about this because I'll call immigration and you'll be the one who gets in trouble. Oh my God.
She physically confined them in the house. They were locked in. Well, it wasn't just the threat.
That's crazy. Like, how the fuck could they work for her if she's like, are they like chained to the ground, but like with like a area they can work? That's just, I mean, I don't think there's logic to this. I'm looking for an answer that doesn't exist.
But they were physically confined. They were not allowed to leave.
That is fucking crazy.
Yes. And she openly to like other people referred to them as slaves. She wasn't trying to hide it. She wasn't
And
like,
where
oh, my
were these other
housekeeper.
people? Like,
No,
what?
and tons and tons of complaints were actually filed with the authorities about these maids and how they were treated, but the authorities did nothing for a long time.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And one woman, it only stops when one woman escapes, like, you know, boop, 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 like running away.
Actually runs away. Holy shit.
And goes to the FBI, who arrests both Santy and Kenny Sr. For involuntary servitude.
Wow.
Kenneth Sr. here gets to do a plea deal and gets probation because by all accounts, he was just tacitly allowing it, which is still horrible, but that's mostly what he did.
I am not going to let that slide right
No.
there.
I'm not letting it slide.
White man tacitly letting it. No, if you live in the house where that's happening, you're a part of it. Like if somebody who's driving the getaway car can be charged with murder, the guy living with enslaved people, like fuck that. Fuck this guy.
Fuck him absolutely 100%. I agree. But I'm just saying that was a slightly different role.
Right. I mean,
just different parts in this horror show. Kenneth Sr. also is a really, really rich white guy. So of course, he's not going to go to jail.
This is a weird aside, but have you ever seen the movie Dogville by Lars von Trier?
I have not, but I like Lars von Trier.
Dude, it's kind of like, I haven't seen it in a long time, so excuse me if we have any like movie buffs who are like Cindy's talking out of her ass, but basically it's kind of like the story of America and the way that they treat immigrants. And I don't want to give anything away, but kind of the best part is the guy who's just like tacitly allowing things to happen. In the end, like, he's kind of the biggest villain, you know?
Yeah,
and you start to kind of understand the point of that movie is like the people who just stand by and allow this to happen and then like pretend that they're not involved or it's not their fault. Like they're kind of the most evil of all the people because they're the ones just like convincing themselves that they're doing okay, you know? Anyway, this just reminded me of that for some reason. So if you guys haven't seen that movie, you should see it. It's a fucking trip. Like there's no doors or windows, everything's pretend in the movie, but you get so into the movie that you forget.
Ew, and like sounds great.
It's awesome. It's so good. Anyway, okay, sorry, go ahead.
All right, I love Antichrist. It's a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Ugh, yeah. Okay. So like I said, Rich Kenny gets probation. Santy pleads guilty and gets 5 years in prison.
Oh wow, okay.
For doing slavery. Yeah. She only serves 3 years and gets paroled in 1989.
And they're still married? Or not, they're not married, but they're still together.
Still together.
Still together. Okay.
We're getting there, yeah. So she's out in 1989, and Kenny Jr., meanwhile, actually enjoyed his mother's absence.
Oh.
Even though he was kind of the golden child, he really enjoyed the kind of creating a normal teenage life with his dad, who, like we said, is still a piece of shit, but he was kind of being normal.
Right. He didn't have the psycho, like,
overbearing mom character. Yeah. And all his friends say that he was dreading his mom's release. And he was right to, because the second like she gets out, she's like, fuck your whole life. She made him change high schools, isolates him, says you can't talk to any of your friends anymore. It's exactly the behavior of an abusive romantic partner.
That's what I was just gonna say. It's like she's a jealous girlfriend.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Ugh.
So Kenny Jr. actually briefly attends UCSB and had like a little bit of something going, but later, I'm sure under his mom's influence, he drops out and focuses pretty much on doing crime with his mom for the rest of the story here.
Oh, I kind of feel bad for him because honestly, like if you're raised in that kind of a situation, that power dynamic is really hard to shake.
Yes. So Kenneth Sr. Dies in 1994, and there's some suspicion.
Okay, I was gonna ask
how that might have happened. I didn't get a cause of death, but there's a question mark there.
A heart attack, but there's a needle prick on his thigh. Something
exactly, yeah. But it wouldn't really have behooved her to she's not going to benefit from it because he actually left all of his riches to his kids from a previous marriage, leaving Santy and Kenny Jr. totally out in the cold.
It's kind of crazy he did that to Kenny Jr. Like that's pretty fucked up.
It's a little shitty, yeah.
Like he should have done some. Like you can leave money to people with like caveats, like your mom can't touch it, like don't spend it on her, like yada yada. I mean, I don't know how enforceable that is, but he could have fucking tried.
So obviously Santy's really mad and she's determined to be rich, like period. So she's like, I'm gonna do crazy crime shit, and that's where we're going here.
Okay.
1996, Santy and Kenny go to the Bahamas to try to access the money from Kenneth Sr.'s offshore account there, to no success.
Okay.
While they're there, a banker named Syed Bilal Ahmed expresses suspicion about their activities, and it's like, I fucking know what you're doing. So they drug him, drown him, and throw his body in the ocean.
But I mean, what was he going to even be able to do to them? It's not like, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have just been like, no, you don't know anything, fuck off. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know enough details, but that's a crazy ass reason to kill somebody.
How dare you suspect me of doing the thing I'm definitely doing?
Yeah, like, I don't know. I guess if she's already a felon or whatever, it could have been worse for her than, I don't know.
Oh, there's no logic to any of these decisions that are gonna come.
Yeah.
In 1998, they move on to their next scheme. Kenny forged the signature of a friend they knew named David Kasdan in order to take out a $280,000 mortgage for a home in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And when the bank caught on an open investigation, David Kasdan was like, hey guys, what the fuck? You bought a house in my name. And shortly thereafter, the house burnt down.
What, she had insurance on it or something? She must have.
Yes.
And that's fucking crazy.
I believe so. And David, shortly thereafter, was found dead in a dumpster outside of LAX.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, he raised suspicions about it. He wasn't happy that they did that. So they shot him in the back of the head and threw him in a dumpster.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep. I have so much more to go through here.
Oh my God. Rolling. Okay. All right.
This is also a crime spree. And it's also kind of like would have been perfect for Mother's Day too. But anyway.
Yeah.
So authorities try to track them down to ask about David's murder in California, but they are like, they're gone. Poof. Yeah. They've already moved on to their next scheme, which is they research and find a wealthy widow named Irene Silverman, who's 82.
Oh.
Yeah. She was a socialite in New York who lived in Manhattan. She had a massive home, like big brownstone in Upper East Side Manhattan. Nowadays would probably sell for like $300 billion.
Yeah.
And she turned it into an apartment building and was renting kind of rooms out and stuff. So,
like a bed and breakfast.
Yeah. Well, it's more like rooms, like little studio apartments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Residences. Yeah. So their plan was to get rid of Irene, then take over the brownstone and essentially force her, or through forgery, make it so that was their building and then sell it.
That's it's weird because this is like a spree killer, and it's also kind of like my spree killer who killed the lady who owned the bed and breakfast. Like it's kind of like similar vibes there too.
Very much.
Yeah.
So she does forge Irene's signature to start the process of a deed transfer, just to like sell the property without Irene knowing.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, they have Kenny move into the building under a fake name of Manny Guerin.
Ew. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Irene complained to the staff about this tenant being kind of difficult because he wouldn't allow her to have housekeepers clean his apartment. And he had a mysterious older woman named Ava Guerrero. Spoiler alert, it's Santi. Yeah. And so basically she kind of wants him out. And so there's a little bit of conflict there. Shortly after, Irene goes missing.
Weird.
Her property manager reports her missing, and investigators quickly realize that this conflict was happening. So they go to find Manny, right, and talk to him. And he's gone. So they make a sketch of Manny. Yeah, what?
I was going to say, like, what'd they get out of this? Like, they failed. They didn't get shit.
Yes.
Idiots. Like, obviously. Okay, sorry. Keep going. Sorry.
So meanwhile, the FBI actually do catch up with and arrest Santi and Kenny in New York City, but for charges from Utah of purchasing a car with a bad check. So a whole separate thing.
Oh my God.
When they're arrested, I'm excited to see you laugh at this. When they're arrested, Kenny pees his pants. So
I was not expecting that.
No.
That's incredible.
That's so great.
Oh man.
The cop who's like one of those like stone cold serious cops reporting that was really funny in this show. He was like, it's a very unusual reaction. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love
that. So they kind of put things together with the authorities in New York and realize that they need to talk to them about Irene's disappearance.
Yeah.
And then they later figure out that they're related to the David Kasdan case, and they're hit with a whole fucking bouquet of murder charges. Here you go.
Yeah.
In different states. So the story is actually big news at the time. Like I said, I don't know why I don't know about this, because it's like this mom-son thing. It's this very weird story. And Santi and Kenny use this press coverage to essentially do a very wild press tour, very loudly proclaiming their innocence. They're on like every TV show under the sun. They're doing a press junket.
Oh, God.
She is so bad at acting. She's so over the top. In one appearance on 60 Minutes, Santi was crying, just like the most bullshit crying you've ever seen. And she was like, I don't believe in this country anymore. I used to believe in this country. No American is safe. She's basically saying, like, all Americans, you could be falsely arrested for murder like us. It's so tragic, you know?
It's like, dude, you so obviously did this. What the fuck?
For the trial, she also makes herself look more grandma-ish. She kind of and like fuddy-duddy, you know, she lets her hair go gray, which she never did before.
Right, and she's vain as fuck.
Yeah, but all of a sudden she's like, I'm just a grandma, you know, like pulling that.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So sadly, Irene's body was never found.
No. Oh, my God, because neither of them ever copped to it, right? They never.
Well, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you in a second why she was never found. But they find her ID in Santi's purse, and they find a notebook of hers with both her and Kenny's handwriting notes, literally like a murder to-do list for this whole scheme with Irene, absolutely everything. And these fucking assholes are on 60 Minutes like crying, like, okay.
It's like, how the fuck did that happen? Then come the fuck on, you guys. That's like that chick I did that's on death row in California that had like all of her like murder to-do list and like you know, the receipt from the fax she sent, like all the fucking evidence. We should do
a list of murder to-do lists. That would be very meta. List of lists.
Oh, God.
There's some good ones. Okay. So this is a bit of a spoiler alert because Kenny Jr. does actually later confess a bit later.
Okay.
So we only know this from him, not from like any evidence, but Kenny will say that Santi actually stunned Irene with a taser and then he strangled her to death.
Oh, that sucks. That's really gross.
They then put her body in a duffel bag, took it away in a stolen car. With her body still in the car, they went to get coffees and pastries at Trump Tower.
That's weirdly fitting. I don't know what about that works.
Hanging out at Trump Tower, yeah. Then later, just another extra thing. Then later on that day, they put her body in a dumpster, which is probably why she's never been found. Because
as soon as you said that, I was like, they took her to a landfill. She's in a landfill. She'll never be found. Like,
correct. Yeah. So May 2000, they were both found guilty of Irene's murder and sentenced to 120 years each.
Oof.
After the sentencing, they do not stop the press tour. They go on Larry King Live with Santi crying again, saying they were framed.
Like from prison? Like,
I don't know, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be.
In 2000, also, Kenny held a court TV producer hostage who came to interview him in prison. He held her.
How did he do that?
I have so many questions about this story. He held her for 4 hours at pen point. So all he had was a fucking pen. He's just pointing it at her face.
I'm sorry. That is actually very fucking scary. But like,
no, it is
also weird as fuck.
It's weird. And I'm sorry. How did this go on so long? There's all these armed guards. Like, just attack him. He has a fucking pen.
It's a pen. Like, he's not like
you can take him. Like, you can take him.
Yeah, that's not like a gun or even a fucking knife. Jesus.
Yeah, so that's weird. He was doing this. He said the demand that was being made was that his mom not be extradited to California to face murder charges up for David Kasdan's murder, which too bad.
Yeah, like what? Well, also, what difference does it make? She has 120 years. Like, why is he doing that? That's like this whole thing is just like I want to make sense of it, and I'm not gonna have. It's not going to. I'm not going to get that.
People are just wild, dude.
They're not. They're also just There's something going on.
2001, they were both extradited to California to face charges for the murder of David Kasdan, where they each get another life sentence each. And this is when it's all over. It's all the charges are said and done. Kenny does flip and tell the whole story. Here's what he does. He flips because this way he can get spared from the death penalty for both of them.
Right. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Although,
That's what-
again, if you're getting the death penalty in California, like,
No, you'll
I don't
never.
know. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
probably not as nice of a prison, though, I'd say. It's probably a less, ideal situation to live in, but
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
So that's why he flips. And he has a very detailed, long account that he writes up in like a little essay,
Mhm.
which I'll mention later. Santee died in prison in New York in 2014 at the age of 79.
Wow. Pretty long.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess, for this piece of shit. Kenny is in prison in California still.
Okay.
Before her death, however, she never shut up, not a fucking minute. This narcissistic
Yeah.
piece of fucking shit. Kept doing interviews, always proclaiming her innocence. Santee made a YouTube page and a Facebook
God.
page and a website. The website's unfortunately down. I really wanted to see it, but the Facebook is still active. And
are there people who believe she's innocent?
I don't know who's maintaining it. I don't think
weird.
it's Kenny, because Kenny's not like super pro his mom anymore. So
That's
I
good.
don't think it's him, but like I'm not sure who's running it. Someone, at least one other person likes her.
Yeah.
But she's super manipulative, so who knows? It's,
Yeah. I mean, she's probably got people who believe her just because, again, if you're charismatic, like you can get away with that shit.
And the YouTube page tag is at convicted wrongfully, it's all this stuff.
Oh,
and check out the Facebook. It's really funny. It uses a super, super old airbrushed kind of glamour photo of her.
Of course it does.
Yeah. So, and when she died, there was a big memorial splash thing on it. And it's like, who's doing this?
Yeah.
Who is sad about
bizarre?
Who is sad about this like enslaving piece of shit? Like,
and it's not like she had money to pay somebody to do this. Which, if she had money, she absolutely would pay them to do it. But it's just like, oh my God, I really want to know who's running that fucking page. That is so bizarre. That's so bizarre.
And in 2018, that's actually when Kenny wrote an essay that was an in-depth confession where he reflected on the whole experience in detail. He talked about killing Irene. That's how we know how all these various people died.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that he was terrified and wanted to run, but basically kind of like felt trapped. He was doing what he told. And I kind of liked his account in a weird way, even though fuck him. But I did kind of like his account because he said like that there's no one to blame but himself. So he wasn't trying to just totally shift the blame. But I don't doubt that his mom was like abusive and controlling and manipulative to him though. So
no, I mean, you always have a choice, but like I understand that if somebody is really manipulative and really good at like controlling you, you can be led to think that or to feel like you don't have a choice. So I do feel bad for him. I have empathy for him, but I also like he killed a bunch of people and
he did. And the weird thing too in his essay was that he basically got like a prison letter writing girlfriend, and then she died of the flu.
Oh fuck.
And he said that loss made him realize like what he did to his victims and like made him have like a moral compass again. And so it's kind of sweet.
Weird it took that long
in a way. Yeah. But he's like, it took a long time for him to come around, but apparently he has.
Yeah. Okay.
Normal Son, Kent, by the way, has a great perspective on this. And he wrote a book about his experiences called Son of a Grifter, which is a great title.
It's very, very accurate.
Yeah. So that's Santee and Kenny.
Wow. Okay. I like that you did this one because my first thought was we were just going to do a bunch of business partners like killing each other, which is also like super interesting and definitely like something that I want to cover. But my case is kind of similar to yours, and I'm kind of happy about that because I just didn't know what to expect. So I'm going to do the case of Skylar De Leon, and I just want to put it out there because I think it would be confusing if I didn't say this ahead of time. In either I think 2018 or I think it's 2019, Skylar transitioned to a woman. So at the time that all of this goes on, she was living life as a man.
Right.
And she is now living life as a woman.
So we're going to use she.
We are going to use she, but it's going to be confusing if I didn't explain.
Right. No, it's good to say. Yeah. I think you say like at the time she was presenting as male.
Yes. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she has children. She had a wife. So just to make it like a little bit more clear as to why I'm saying that, I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
So, and Skylar's name has been, she was born with a different name.
Okay.
But lived as Skylar most of her life, presenting as a male and now as a woman.
Okay.
So the name Skylar does remain constant. So just so everybody kind of
Okay.
knows.
Okay.
Yes. So, all right. Skylar De Leon was born in 1979 in California and grew up in a really abusive home with like a drug dealer and drug abusing father. Not really sure where her mother was in all of this, but it just didn't seem like a good home. She was actually born in Sun Valley, which is like a couple miles from here. So, or from where I am. So she went on to become an actor. And apparently, so there's a lot of back and forth about this because she claims that she was a Power Ranger when she was 14 on one of the shows or in one of the movies, but there's no record of that under any of her names.
Okay.
She definitely did some, but it's weird because if you look it up, there's pictures of her as a Power Ranger, but this person is like in their 20s. So the time frame doesn't work. Nothing really works. She definitely did some commercial work, but nothing major. Definitely not like an actor. And in fact, Skylar's IMDb only has listings for like crime documentaries. So,
Okay.
officially it's kind of a lie. So it's really hard to know what's real and what's not real with her. I know that her dad was like abusive and terrible, but I don't know really what the deal is beyond that. Like she is like,
Gotcha.
again, like we have another grifter here. And so it's just really, really hard to know what's going on. So Skylar then went into the Marines, but went on an unauthorized leave. So basically just bailed out after only 15 days. And so she was given something, it's called an other than honorable discharge, which I don't really know what that means. It wasn't necessarily a dishonorable discharge, but it was just kind of like, you bailed out, we're discharging you, and it's like not a good thing. She then met and married Jennifer Henderson, who was a couple years younger than her, and they just started having babies. They were both in their early 20s at this point, and while Jennifer was a hairdresser and made kind of okay money, Skylar wasn't really able to hold down a job. So she became the stay-at-home parent because it didn't make sense to pay a babysitter to watch their daughter because she wasn't making enough money to pay the babysitter even. So they're like, we'll just live off of a single income and figure it out. So they end up living in Jennifer's parents' garage, which they converted into this like tiny house, but they had to like share the kitchen and the bathroom with her parents. And it was just like a very cramped and just not an ideal situation.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer again becomes pregnant.
Okay.
So they've now got a family of about to be 4 in a converted garage with no bathroom, no kitchen. Not a good scene.
That's tough.
Yeah. And at this point, Jennifer, even though she's like loves Skylar and is really, like a good, loyal wife, she's getting kind of sick of it. She wants a better life. She's like, why can't you work? Why can't you do something? Like, we need money. And so Skylar is a very charismatic person, I want to say. A big time manipulator, big time grifter. So I don't really know what was said to Jennifer to keep her kind of hanging around, or what was said to her to keep her like wanting to do, all the things that happen. But Skylar decides that in order to give her wife, the dream life she wants, she has to do something pretty major. I should point out that Skylar had recently come out of prison. So she, bails out on the Marines and then ends up in prison for a residential burglary and ends up doing at least like a year in prison for this, right?
Okay.
So while she's in prison, she befriends a guard named Alonzo Machine, who I believe was like 20 or 21. And this is a prison guard and a prisoner becoming like BFFs, which is like,
not smiled upon.
No, definitely not. Although I think a lot more common than we know.
Sure.
Because it happens a lot where it goes sideways and makes it in the news. So gotta wonder who these people are hiring,
Yeah.
The two stay in touch after Skylar was released, and they both liked getting into bad shit, which is funny since Alonzo again is like a prison guard. But Skylar didn't really know what she wanted to do, but she decided, I'm not gonna work, so I'm gonna figure something out. So she finds a yacht for sale in nearby Long Beach, California, and she devises this plan. Before I talk about the plan, I'm going to talk about the couple selling the yacht. We have 57-year-old Tom Hawks and his 47-year-old wife, Jackie.
Okay.
These two, they had like that fairy tale love story that like not that many couples have, you know?
Yeah.
They met years before when Tom had recently divorced. He had 2 sons who were still adolescents, and he and Jackie fell in love immediately, and she raised them. She basically raised these 2 kids as her own. Now, I think they still had a relationship with their mother, but the idea and the point is that Jackie was also their mother. Like in everybody's eyes, when they talk about her, they're like my mom and dad. You know,
Yeah.
they don't say my stepmom, they don't say anything, you know, so very, very, very tight family. Tom was a Vietnam veteran. He'd worked various jobs over the years, including as a probation officer. He was also an avid bodybuilder and like fitness guy. And
Oh.
Jackie was just this like super cute blonde, like she was a stay-at-home mom, so she took care of the boys. She had like really short, really bleached blonde hair, and you could just tell that these 2 like lived at the beach. Like you could
Yeah.
just tell. And they're from like Southern California.
From
So
Long
like,
Beach. Yeah.
yeah, like why not, right? So they were madly in love. They worked really hard to be able to retire early because they
Nice.
wanted to sail around the world and like live on a boat and like just have this like freewheeling lifestyle,
That's
right?
the dream. Yeah, minus
It
the boat.
is.
I want that.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to live on a fucking boat, even if it's a
No.
yacht. Like, no,
No,
thank you.
no.
So they buy this boat that they name it the Well Deserved.
Oh,
Which, yeah, I know. It's a
Cute.
it's a really cute name because they worked really hard for it.
Yeah.
So they, you know, retire when Tom's like 55 and Jackie's like 45. But
That's
they worked
dope.
their asses off to do it. Yeah. I mean, the way that the country is set up right now, that's not possible. Like people are just like hoarding wealth and like, you know, you can make like
Never
money.
retiring.
Yeah, you can make money. Like the money that I make now, I'm like never would have dreamed of, and I'm like barely scraping by. Thanks, America.
Yeah, capitalism.
Sorry, we have to always go there.
Yeah.
But back then it was possible to like have one job and work normal hours and have a good life, which God forbid that ever be the case again. So they save up and they buy this 55-foot yacht and they go sailing. And Tom learned how to sail, and he was like a captain, and he was like the real deal because
Nice.
they would, you know, they get into like stormy weather and shit, you know, like boating around, and they handled it. They were fine. Like nothing bad ever happened to them. They had great adventures. They'd take friends out on the boat. Like it was just a really fucking great time. And they took such good care of their yacht.
Yeah.
Everything had its place. Their dinghy was always put right back the way it was supposed to be, tied on a certain way. Like they were very meticulous. They knew what they had. They knew how hard they worked for it. They took really good care of it.
Yeah.
So after just 2 years, the couple found out that one of their sons was having his own baby. And the
Aw.
couple, they're like, we don't want to be at sea. We want to watch our grandchild grow up. And their son lived in Arizona. So they're like, all right, we're going to dock back in Southern California. We're going to sell our yacht. We're going to come buy a house out in Arizona. And we're going to do the grandparent thing. Right.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Very cute. Everybody's really happy.
Putting the family first.
Yeah. And because they want to, you know, it's so lovely.
Definitely.
And in early 2004, they put an ad out to sell their beloved yacht for $435,000, which,
Oof.
yes, that's a lot of money back then.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And very unfortunately for this family, and especially for this couple, Skylar DeLeon answered this ad.
Oof.
Now, at first, Tom was super suspicious. You know, I don't know why, but I think with yachts, there's not as much oversight in the buying and selling. So he was very suspicious of this person. He was like, you know, you don't seem like the type of person who would have this much money, you know, whatever. And I think just because he had been like in law enforcement and, you know, lived the life he had, he just was naturally cautious. But also a lot of his friends were like, you have to be really careful when you're buying and selling boats. You have to really look into people. So I don't know why, but he was not super into having Skylar actually come onto the yacht. And Skylar noticed this and figured out a way to manipulate Tom and Jackie into trusting her.
Yeah.
And he invites Jennifer, who has their toddler and is visibly pregnant with their next child, to come with. So they look like this happy little family. Everything's fine. There's the wife. There's the daughter. There's the next one on the way. And Tom and Jackie are like, okay, we trust you. You've got a family. Everything's cool. Tom even told his friends, we're in the final phases of selling this yacht to this family. They're really excited to buy it. We're going to need your guys' help moving us out of the yacht in the coming days. So they're all moving forward.
Gotcha.
The couple then agreed. Skylar's like, I want to bring a couple of my friends and go on a test drive of the boat. Are you guys open to that? And Tom and Jackie are like, yes, because we've met your wife and your family, we're totally open to that. So they set up a time, and Skylar and two of her friends come out to test drive the boat and just kind of, see how things go.
Yeah.
These two friends were Alonzo Machane, the security guard or the prison guard, and a man named, I swear to God, John F. Kennedy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, his parents aimed high, and let me tell you, they fucking missed.
Oh my God.
You'll see why in a minute, but I'm like,
doesn't
man,
live up to the namesake.
No, because
Okay.
I think it is like Fitzgerald too, is his middle name. Like,
oh my God.
his parents,
They were just doing it. They
went for it, and
Okay.
it backfired epically.
didn't get a JFK.
No, they did not. Well, I mean, he is a career criminal. Sorry. Oh, it's gonna get some hate. Whatever.
Okay.
So anyway, he's a 41-year-old career criminal who was a member of the Insane Crips from Long Beach, because that's actually their name, and they don't find that funny. And he had been introduced to Skylar that same day for the purposes of helping pull off this heist. So they're not even actually friends, but John F. Kennedy ends up on the boat. So these three people go onto the boat. Jennifer's not there, because like she's like, I'm pregnant, I can't come to the boat, I'm whatever. I gotta stay with the kid. So they go out to sea. So it's Jackie, Tom, Skylar, Alonzo, and John. Now, as I mentioned, Tom was a bodybuilder and a pretty substantial dude. So these three had to kind of attack very carefully. And they waited until Tom was under the deck, to attack him. And it was Skylar and John who attacked him together and were barely able to overpower him.
This is a big, beefy dude. I'm looking at the picture.
You see the picture? Yeah. Like he's like, and isn't she so cute? It really fucking
that's
sucks.
a Long Beach couple right there, if I ever saw one.
It really is. That's a Long Beach. That's a Long Beach power couple.
Yeah, very tan. Yeah.
Yes. Which just makes this all the more fucking horrible.
Very sad.
Yeah. So it was mostly John who attacked Tom, but Skylar was definitely helping. John put him in a chokehold until he was subdued. And then Alonzo tried to use a stun gun on Jackie when she started screaming, but it malfunctioned. So he just overpowered her with his body, but first tried to stun gun her. He then said that Skylar instructed him to tape over their eyes and mouths, which is so fucking disgusting.
I always say this, but I hate the tape.
The tape is so much worse than even a blindfold.
Yeah.
But so their mouths are taped, their eyes are taped, and still Tom is fighting, right? And they get up to the top, and Tom tries to fight back again. Skylar's trying to tie his feet, and he horse kicks him, kicks his foot back, and Skylar goes flying, and he starts struggling, and John just comes up, and because he can't see, he can't defend himself, and just as hard as he can, cold cocks him in the side of his head, hits him in the temple. And it was said that later after that, he was pretty much out. That rung his bell, and he had to have Jackie help him stay standing, which is fucked up. Because he knew what was coming.
Oh yeah, they're fighting for their life.
They are, and he fucking knows it, and that's so fucked up and so fucking scary. So now, they've got their mouths taped, their eyes taped, and Skylar, Alonzo, and John tie them to one of the anchors on the boat and throw them overboard.
Oh my God, it's oh my God, you're giving me anxiety.
Yeah, I know, it gave me anxiety as well. One thing that I read, and my reaction to this was so fucked up, is that Jackie's head hit the side of the boat on the way down. And the only thing I could think was, oh my God, I hope it knocked her unconscious.
That's so horrible. That's an all-time horrible, worst way to die.
Yeah. Who was that guy that dumped the three ladies off the side of the boat? Same thing.
Yeah.
Fully
Yeah.
alive, just dumped them. Fucking insane. And to be blindfolded and have your mouth taped, oh God, yeah. This is
Did we do Murders at Sea? We did.
Did we? I don't think we did.
I thought we did.
I don't know if I can handle it. This one fucked me up.
It's so fucked up.
Ugh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, these two get thrown overboard. And I'll just say right now, I was saving this for later, but since you were talking about like how when you end up in a landfill, you're not going to get found. Another place that's like a pretty sure place is the sea. And these two are also never
ocean.
found.
It's horrible.
So they were never found. I mean, if a landfill and the ocean are like the two places that are pretty much a guarantee.
Yep.
Unless it's a foot in the Pacific Northwest, but that's another story.
This has been your How to Murder Corner with Cindy.
I know. I can do that.
Stop giving people tips.
Don't do that, guys. Don't do it. So anyway, Alonzo later said that they then headed back to shore with the boat, and that John took a beer from the fridge and started drinking it, and also took out a fishing rod and just started fishing, like having like a nice little day.
They're just chilling. Yeah.
They're just chilling. Yeah. The next day, Tom and Jackie's family were getting worried because they're like, where the fuck are they? And, you know, his brother is like, he asked me to help him move, and now I can't even find him. And his brother was also a former cop. So, you know, he was pretty, you know, attuned to these kinds of things. So he goes to the yacht and he finds the yacht, and he's like, a lot of things are out of place. The dinghy was not tied properly to the side of the boat, which it always was, because that's how they got onto the yacht and off of it again. There was like a towel thrown randomly. The place just looked ransacked and disheveled. And he's like, this is fucking weird. And he also knew like the last people that he knew they were going to be with are these buyers. So he leaves a note on the yacht, like, please call us if, you know, you were the buyers, like, and, you know, you saw Tom and Jackie. He gets a call from Jennifer DeLeon, and she's like, oh my God, I don't know where they are. We paid cash for the boat. Tom and Jackie said, you know, they're going to take off and go down to Mexico for a few days. So I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And the brother is like, they fucking went to Mexico? Like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And the family's like, there's no way. They didn't put the money in their accounts. They're not going to leave like $435,000 in their fucking pocket, you know, and not cash a check or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, she said she paid in cash. So like, they're just rocking down to Mexico with that money on them? Like, no fucking way.
No.
So the family's like, what the fuck is going on? But Jennifer's like, I have a notarized like bill of sale. And she produces a notarized bill of sale.
Okay.
And the family and the police ask the notary, and the notary's like, yeah, that's a notary. Yeah, that was a sale. Like, it was a real sale. They fucking bought it. So cops are kind of like, all right, like, we still suspect this couple, but like, they have proof they bought it and they were selling it and they admitted to being there. They've been cooperative. So, you know. So they keep looking into it. And they go onto the yacht. They're like, do you guys mind if we go on to the yacht to search for clues? And they're like, of course not. Like, please feel free. While they're on there, they find a receipt from Target showing Jennifer's credit card on it. And this receipt was for bleach, trash bags, and Tums, which I think makes sense because your stomach's probably upset after you murder people.
Or because of the boat.
Yeah, that too.
Seasickness.
Yeah. Oh, God, I get so seasick. It's so fucked up.
Really? I don't at all.
Really? Oh my God. We went whale watching once, and they just like, we weren't finding any. And so when they aren't finding them, they'll like dock the boat longer. And it was just rocking and rocking and rocking. And like people all around me were like throwing up. It was like, please drive away now. Like, we're done. It was so.
Oh, the one time I was fishing in Key West a couple of years ago, like it was super rough waters, and I was like, why am I fine? That's really weird. I have a lot of sailors and ship people in my ancestry, so I think it's like genetic.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't think I have any of that shit. Although a lot of my ancestors came over on the motherfucking Mayflower.
Yeah.
So, pull my collar out for that. Okay, so anyway, police are super suspicious. The couple isn't budging. Skylar is sort of trying to gain more trust with the cops. And she says, well, to be honest with you, because they're like, where the fuck do you get the money to buy this? And she's like, well, you know how I went to prison? It's because I was doing bad dealings. I had a big drug deal and I got the money. But I'm telling you, like, I want to go straight now. Like, I want to do right with my family. this money did come from, crooked means, but like now I'm on the straight and narrow, right?
Okay.
So cops are like, okay, whatever. And they go to Target because they have this receipt and they watch the camera because they're like, we're going to fucking see Skylar on there buying all this shit so they can clean him up a murder, whatever. It's Jennifer's father on the video. Yeah.
Surprise.
Surprise, surprise. So they interview him and he's like, oh, the couple's helping clean up a church. So they had me go buy this stuff for them because they're helping like clean up their local church. So now police are like, well, what the fuck? Like, he's admitting how he got the money. He's telling, I'm so sorry. She's admitting how she got the money. She's telling me, I want to be straight with my family. The dad's involved. Like, they wouldn't have their dad go buy this shit if it was to clean up a murder, whatever. So
yeah.
Cops are a little like, what the fuck is going on? Right? Maybe they are telling the truth. And police even said that Jennifer seemed genuinely concerned because the couple left all of their stuff on the yacht. And she was like, I'm trying to get them back their stuff. I've been calling them, like, I don't know where to find them. I feel so bad, yada, yada, yada. And, she's like, I'm really concerned. They're such a lovely couple. I hate to think anything would have happened to them. So cops are,
this is so elaborate on their part.
So elaborate. It's so fucking elaborate. So I could see why the cops would lower their guard a bit because the couple was so charismatic and so big time con artists, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, they did continue to investigate things because finally, Tom and Jackie's CRV, which had also gone missing, was eventually found in Ensenada, which tracks with the whole like going to Mexico thing, right? Sure. And I think part of why they said that and why they put the car down there is because it made it look like they dumped their car and crossed the border. But when asked about the car, so cops put a thing out, like a bulletin, like, please help us, find, I think the family like paid to have it, an ad on TV, and somebody calls and they're like, I think we have the car. So cops go down and they talk to this guy and he's like, oh, Skylar and Jennifer gave it to me. I'm friends with Skylar and she gave me this car. So now police are like, all right, we fucking got him because they took this car. You know what I mean? Like the cops said, like at that moment, we knew that Tom and Jackie were dead. Like any hope we had that they were still alive was gone the second that we knew that Skylar was the one who gave away their car. Because
that's a massive red flag, red banner.
Yes. So they get a warrant to search Jennifer's parents' house because obviously they still lived there. And they found items that were missing from the yacht. And it's like, why would you steal items off your own yacht if you're like planning on living there? Right.
Yeah.
And so it's really weird because it seemed like a burglary of the yacht, but they killed the occupants for some reason. Like it wasn't even like they were going to try to keep the yacht almost. Like it was very fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
why not steal the yacht and like run away?
Right. But they're just like leaving it there and like looting it. Cops said all in, they ended up with like $3,800. That's all they ended up taking from this fucking $400,000 yacht.
What a shit. Like, I mean, obviously the murder is evil, but like also they're just bad at scheming.
It's just pointless. It's it's definitely pointless anyway, but you know what we're saying. Like
they didn't do a great job.
Yeah, what's your fucking end?
And robbing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So anyway, they still have these notarized documents. And cops are like, they have a proof of sale. How the fuck do we get them? So they bring the notary in again. They interview her again. And they lay this shit on thick and they scare the shit out of her. And finally, she cracks and she's like, listen, they paid me $2,000 to backdate these. So it definitely didn't actually happen. Like they came into me with these documents like 3 days after the couple went missing and paid me to make it look like they'd sold them the boat on the day they went missing.
That's like you're losing your notary job in this.
Oh, and probably going to prison for a little while.
Fraud. Yeah.
Yeah. So they all finally have what they need. And so now they're interviewing Alonzo, they're interviewing John F. Kennedy. I love saying that. And finally, with all of this evidence presented to him, Alonzo, who's only like 23 at the time, confesses and outs every single other person involved. Okay. And in the end, there was another man who was involved and he spent 4 years in prison as an accessory after the fact. He was the guy, Myron Gardner, because he was the one who introduced Skylar to John. So that's how he got charged, because he knew about this murder plot. And not only did he not try to stop it, but he like kind of helped with it, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it took 2 weeks after they disappeared for the Hawks to officially be reported as missing. And it took nearly 5 months for the murderers to be caught. But eventually, Skylar, Jennifer, Alonzo, John, and Myron, like I said, were all arrested. Skylar and John both pled not guilty. I think Jennifer may have as well. Now, a weird twist in this is that while police were searching the couple's garage, they found a business card from another officer. Ooh, I'm tired.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah, such a good one. From the LAPD named Joe Bahina, who was the liaison for Mexican police. And Joe here had been investigating the death of a man named John Jarvie, who had been found murdered in his car in Mexico in 2003. And Skylar was a suspect because Skylar and John had been friends. So now they have this thing and they start piecing it all together. And they realize that in the days before he went missing, John Jarvie gave Skylar $50,000 with the promise of a, quote, big score in Mexico, and instead was found murdered there days later.
Okay.
So finally, as part of this investigation, Skylar was also charged with this man's murder. So we have like a would-be serial killer here.
Jesus, yeah. Wow.
So we've got this bonus murder thrown into this story. And again, for money. So $50K, got the yacht. So anyway, Myron was given 4 years and released as he wasn't really involved. Jennifer was charged with both murders, even though she wasn't present when they occurred, because she set them up. She covered them up. She lied to cops. She was obviously
She did the notary thing. Yeah.
She did. So she got 2 life sentences without parole.
She did?
Yeah, she did. She wasn't even, and she was not even there.
Wow.
But I mean, she was 50%.
She was in on it. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. She was at least half the planning.
Okay.
Alonzo turned on all the others and was given a 20-year sentence in return for his testimony.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy was given the death penalty.
Oh my God.
So he got the death penalty. Skylar also got the death penalty and was convicted of all 3 murders.
So she's on San Quentin? Death row?
I don't know where they put women because she started out in San Quentin, but as of 2019, because she officially transitioned, I don't know where she was moved to. I think it would be Chowchilla.
Right.
I think is where the women go.
I forgot San Quentin's just dudes.
Just dudes, yeah. So that's where she is. She has maintained her innocence. She's very charismatic, to be honest. Like it's really
interesting.
A lot of these like murders for money, these people are narcissists. They're charismatic. They'll never ever admit to what they did.
They're scammers.
They are. I don't know if Jennifer ever came clean about all of it, but I know that Alonzo did, and that was enough, even without the bodies, to charge everybody for their roles in this. So
wow. Well, fuck all those people. That's a really horrific crime, and the throwing them over the boat thing is gonna haunt me tonight when I'm trying to go to sleep. So
dude, I started researching this a couple days ago, and like I couldn't stop thinking about that. Like it's horrible. So horrifying. That is particularly awful in my opinion.
With the tape and the God. It's like being buried alive in a way.
It really is. It's almost worse. I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you what's worse. Thank God. I don't fucking know. But like,
I mean, either way, you suffocate basically. So
yeah.
It's horrible.
That's gross. Fucked up. And again, in the end, they ended up with like $3,800 in like cash and stolen goods. And it's like, what were y'all doing? You were just gonna sit there with the boat? Like, they would have been. Again, I don't want to do like How to Get Away with Murder Corner with Cindy, but like, go out into the ocean and dump all their shit too. Like what the
these are not criminal masterminds that we're talking about.
Yeah, like giving the car to your friend and like not telling them to like, oh, don't tell the cops. Like they just, you know what I mean? Like very strange. But yeah, so there it is.
Okay. Greedy people.
Greedy fucks. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yes.
So anyway, okay, well there's round 1. We'll be back in a couple days with round 2. Please like, rate, review, share with your friends and family. Let them know you're a fucking true crime weirdo and you love us, and maybe they will too. And please feel free to write in with new case suggestions or anything else. And until the next half,
stay
off our
ways.
Ciao.